10 days. 10 days of making daily YouTube videos ignited more joy, more creativity, more excitement than 10 years on Instagram. Oh my God, it's crazy to me. This is my 11th. Actually, this is day 11. This is my 11th video on this 100 daily video journey. And it's hard to explain how it feels as a creator, as someone who has been using social media to market to my business, to promote my offerings, my work for, yeah, probably the last 10 years, if we count all the many pivots I've made. And I joined Instagram. This is not a hate video on Instagram. And also, I've noticed how I wasn't enjoying spending time on the platform on Instagram in the last year or so, maybe even more, because so much has changed. And the call to starting a YouTube channel was there, has been there. The moment I started, I think it was my my second coaching certification in 2021, 22, that like a little voice in my head was like, start a YouTube channel, start a YouTube channel. And I managed to procrastinate up until 10 days ago. And in the last 2 months, especially as on Instagram, I really pulled out of it. I've deleted the app. I'm still sharing on there what I post on Threads, which is a platform I'm really enjoying right now, but I don't actively use Instagram. I don't consume content on there. And in a way, it's sad, but also platforms change. And that's just the reality of it. I joined Instagram, I think it was the early 2010, maybe 2011. And it started just, if you remember the early days of Instagram, it was photographs, posting photographs. And I remember there was this app, Square something, I can't remember, where you could make your photos because my photos were mostly horizontal, taken with my DSLR camera, photos of my travels, of landscapes I loved and cityscapes mainly. And I was using that app to make my photos square with the white border around. That was my vibe, that was my style. And it was such a beautiful feed. So it started just as photographs. And yeah, it was 2010 because I just graduated and I just realized that what I graduated in, I did, I wasn't going to do that job. I spent 5 years like studies in architecture and interior design, graduated, major in architecture, spent a few months doing that job and realized I don't want to do this job. I chose architecture because I thought I was going to travel, but it was mainly spending time in the office, and it was going to be many years before I would get to travel as those Archistar and famous architects that just get to travel the world and create those magnificent buildings and design. So I was like, I'm not sure. I want this so much. I want this so much to put in all the work it's going to take. I'm not sure this is my thing. Because early on, I knew that my thing, I will do anything to make it happen. I will pour in all it takes. I'm happy to make compromises and accept sacrifices to pursue what is my calling. So early on, I realized this ain't it. So what I did is I was like, all right, maybe I want to be a photographer. I really love graphics. I really love design and taking pictures. And actually, some of my photos were exhibited, were picked for a couple exhibitions. And I was like, maybe there is some talent there. Maybe it's something I can pursue. And somehow I managed to find um, to secure an internship at a very famous photograph studio in New York. but things got really bad with visa. And that dream very, very fast just burned. It was burned. Oh my God, I was heartbroken. But and Instagram started reflecting all my pivots, starting from this photographs, early photographic journey, thinking I was going to be a photographer. And it's something I still love doing. And then after that experience, I had a year of just recovering from it and feeling stuck and not knowing what to do, and went back to my work as an interior designer. And from there, I just like life had different plans. And a friend told me, come on over. Shanghai is calling you. Come on over here. It's great. They're looking for designers, and it's just so fun. And I moved. I moved to Shanghai, I moved to China. And I worked there for almost 10 years up until COVID. And I remember when I got there, first of all, Instagram, you can't really use it there. And it's funny how the platform reflected my journey, because there were many years of no posting at all. It was just, yeah, you could find your ways to use the app, but it was uploading, like for the app to load the photos, the content. It was just painful. So there were years of gap where I wasn't using it. And then I think it was 2020, no, it was 2017 where I did my first yoga teacher training. And I started posting some of that content on Instagram. And then I started studying I did a coaching certification as an integrative holistic health coach. So on Instagram, I started posting about vegan recipes. I had 10 years period where I was vegan. 7 of those years, I was really strict vegan. And then I started being more flexible because my health kind of requested that. But yeah, my Instagram at the time I started having those recipes and my breakfast, but the photography piece was still there, because I was taking, like, arranging the photos and everything before going to work. And like I would have to wake up like 2 hours earlier in the morning to make breakfast look cool. And it was fun, but also that was this isn't it. This isn't it, because gosh, it's taking too much time. And it, it was also taking away from the pleasure of just enjoying breakfast. It was becoming work. So I think I took another pause on Instagram. Although I started coaching clients for health coaching and everything, that part I enjoyed. But like posting on Instagram and the heaviness of having to take the photographs and the caption and everything, the platform was already evolving. For me, it wasn't just worth it. It wasn't worth it anymore. And then there was another little bit of pause. And then COVID came. And with COVID, there was so much time. Like, what do I do with all this time? And I I picked up the brush. I talked about this in my like 2 videos before this one. If I can find a way to post it, I will share it somewhere here. But yeah, I picked up the brush. I started painting. I opened an Etsy shop because people were like, these paintings will make awesome prints. I was like, why not? Let's try it. And it did well. Prints sold. But in that video, I also talk about my journey from illustration work to abstracts, and how the response from the public wasn't how I felt about abstracts. I loved abstracts, and people wanted my illustration work. And in my Instagram, I was posting. So my community, and for a while, I posted about art. And while I was deepening my studies into coaching, into embodiment, nervous system work, and working with women specifically, I started weaving all of that, like the threads together, the art, the painting, what painting as a practice can do for your expression, your creativity, your freedom in just being who you are, how it really helps unlock all the all those parts of ourselves that we have shamed or shunned or judged that really hold our potential. And for a while, I really enjoyed doing that because I felt like, oh, I could just share everything because I've always had so many interests, so many passions, and it felt containing to just stick to one thing. It always felt like no. And then the platform started changing, Instagram and Instagram gurus. And also, you had proof that if you were posting about a bunch of different things, even if it was coherent with your persona, with who you are and all your interests, you could absolutely do that. But if you wanted to actually get reach and bring more eyes on your work and attract clients and build your audience, just to bring that visibility, you had to make it easy for the algorithm to box you, basically, to categorize you. Just you're known for this thing. In fact, the accounts that really grew were the ones that I'm doing this one thing. So there was a moment where it was like, I'm either going to have to play by the rules of this platform or I'm going to hate this process. I'm going to resent this process. So at that point, I think I had about 6,000, close to 6,000 subscribers. I decided to deactivate, press pause and deactivate the account and just create a new one. Crazy to start a new account now on Instagram because it's so much harder to grow. And last November, I started, was it? Yeah, October, I think. I start October, last October, November 2025, I started a brand new Instagram account. I was like, okay, on this account, I'm just gonna post about coaching, clients' results, transformation, the work I facilitate, the work we do inside my containers, whether it's group and one-on-one workshops, and provide value. So carousels and videos and everything. And you know what? I really started not enjoying not just creating content for that platform, having to play by the rules, and for a rebel, for someone who doesn't want to fit into boxes, and I find it so hard. It was like going against my nature. So imagine when you're creating something from that place, even if you love what you're doing, putting that level of constriction, of rules, a way of doing it that you don't enjoy, that doesn't respect or honor how you work, how you naturally communicate and express. First, yes, you're not going to enjoy it. And second, it's not going to flow. It's not going to build what you want to build because your heart, you, you can't be who you are fully. And I think that is the formula. The formula is you. The formula is just showing up like as you are fully. So I was like, this isn't going to work because people are going to feel that energy in what I share. The fact that I resent this platform, the fact that I'm not enjoying, not as a creator and not even as a consumer, because it felt like a performance. It felt like, okay, we're slaves of the algorithm and we're all little soldiers following the rules. It felt, like yuck, no. And I absolutely know you can do Instagram your own way, and there are people who are being successful with that. But if my energy is not aligned with the way I have to let's say I choose to create in there and I seem to can't find a way to make it work for me, it's just a sign that this isn't it. And I knew it already, but I wanted to try. I forced it a little bit and for a while because I was like, well, Instagram is the platform. And I've always, like, I still was attracting clients from Instagram. I still had clients come from Instagram, most of them through Instagram. So it felt like dumb to leave the platform. But you know what? I have to feel this might sound selfish, but I absolutely understand um, putting in the work, but I had to feel alignment within. If I feel forced, if I feel I have to package what I want to say in a way that pleases the algorithmic gods, I don't think I'm built for that. And I wanted something where I could feel just free. And there was maybe one day I will be back to Instagram. The account is still active and I still forward everything I post on threads. I still share to my stories because I want to still show up in a way to the capacity I can for those who still only follow me and only engage with me on Instagram. So I'm more than happy to do that, but I don't jump in the platform. I don't open it. I don't consume content in there. So about I think it was early April, I was like, okay, let's give threads a good shot, a good chance. Let's see what it's like. And gosh, oh my God, the energy, the vibe on threads. You can post your most random thought and have 1,000 people, 100,000 people view your post. Yeah, I meant 100,000 people view your posts, engage with your posts, connect with you. On Instagram, for small accounts, like I had zero followers in threads. If you have zero followers on Instagram, there's no way you're gonna reach that many people. So I started with zero because my Instagram account was pretty small, and when I opened Threads, it was like zero. It was a bit intimidating, like, oh my God. But you know what? It soon became, it changed how I value metrics. Like the most important metric is how I feel in sharing the content and what it gives me back in terms of energy. Because on threads, I have this continuous energy. Of course, there are days where I'm less inspired, and thank God that you can schedule your posts. But most of the times, it's just, okay, I had this thought, let's share it. And then you engage with conversations. You can reply. They're amazing, like honest conversations, spontaneous. It felt like no performance at all. It was like a rebirth of social media. I was like, thank God something like this exists. And I pray that it doesn't change. I pray, not play, I pray that it stays like that. And so this was early April. Right now, I'm at 700 plus subscribers or friends, as we call them on threads, followers. And you know what? It doesn't even matter because I love being on the platform that much. It could be seven, it could literally be just seven. But the fact that as I'm enjoying the platform, the numbers grow organically. I'm not pushing anything, I'm not forcing anything. I'm just showing up as I am. And that brings aligned people in and meaningful conversation and deep connection. I'm all for it. Yes, and more, please. So once threads felt kind of like locked in, I was like, okay. I think this is the time to step into the YouTube world, which for me felt like the ultimate creative platform. It's always felt like that. I always deeply admire YouTubers, like almost reverential admiration because hey, if you showing up long form content, video, sharing about your story, I mean, I applaud you. I'm so inspired. I was so inspired, and I am so inspired by those who step into the space and create such creative, honest content. And at first, I was like, okay, YouTube, what is going to look like? What can feel sustainable for me? I wasn't stranger. I wasn't a stranger. I was no stranger to filming, like recording and being on camera, but YouTube felt like a whole new level. And I also had the caveat that if I'm going to show up on YouTube, I want these videos to be at least 10 minutes. Otherwise, I'm just going to post a reel or something. So I had set a few rules for myself. I was like, okay, what's going to feel sustainable? So at first, I considered one video per week. And so I started getting into my perfectionist self. And I was like, all right, before I even set up the account, I'm going to have 3 months pre-scheduled of ready to publish content. I was like trying to make it so hard, thinking that I was making it feel more doable. And in reality, the more I tried to plan it, the more it felt impossible to even begin. So I kind of procrastinated for a little while. And I was like, all right, maybe I post twice a week, maybe twice a week. I was like, okay, yeah, I can do it. Maybe no edits, so it just flows. And then I was like, maybe I post every day. And don't ask me why, but my brain went, yes, that's it. I was like, what? Now every day sounds reasonable? And as I was a full yes to the craziest idea, like it seemed the least logical to make it sustainable for a projector, as a human design projector, I was like, how does this make sense every day? How does this feel more doable than once a week? So I reversed engineered my answer. This is how my brain works. I was like, oh, I get it. Because if I commit to posting every day, I have no escape. Literally. It's not, oh, there are dogs barking outside. I can't record today. It's not, there's a thunderstorm, there's a rainy season, and the internet isn't going to work and the video is going to be lost. I can't record. I can't make up these excuses. I just get to show up and find a way. Even if there is no way, I must find a way because this is a commitment I made first for myself because I know first how much it pays off to do a practice every day. That practice, and I talked about this in yesterday's video, if you pick a practice that you do every day, that practice is going to become your greatest mirror. It's going to mirror things you can't see. It's going to show you patterns. It's going to show you, it's going to connect dots for you. It's going to be extremely like invaluable. What you learn about yourself, about your patterns, when there is something you practice every day. You're showing up for it every day, regardless of mood, regardless of energy levels, regardless of time. And it doesn't have to be a 2 hours routine. It can be a 10 minutes, 5 minutes thing, 5 minutes of go outside for a walk every day, meditate every day, wild dance. I call it wild dancing. Just put on your favorite song and dance like no one's watching, 5 minutes a day. And I knew how much this practice was going to do for me selfishly, but I knew I was going to grow. I knew that day 100th video, watching that video and watching day one, I would see, and if not see, feel a completely different person inside. So for me, that was exciting. First, because I got to do it for myself. And the fact that there is no escape for some reason, it makes it easier. Like I can't get out of it. I've committed to doing it every day for 100 days. Who knows if I keep going after that? But for at least 100 days, I'm locked in. And it's just what it is. I made it so airtight. I can't find a way out. Even if I'm like the first few days, I noticed I was finding so many excuses. And now we are at day 11, and it's just, even if it's at night, I know I'm going to have to record it. I must do it. I have to do it. It's not like I'm inflicting something. This is something inherently I want to do. So even when a part of me, it's like pulling the brake, I show up and it feels so exciting. And the fact that I'm not following a plan. Of course, I'm not just posting randomly. I'm posting about things that come up in one-on-one sessions, things about that I work through with clients, things, lessons, things I've learned, experiences like my own thinking process and what I go through, real things. And I don't have to package it. I don't have to stick to one piece. For example, look at this video. If I were to post this, well, let's just forget about Instagram, but this could have been, I could have structured it, and maybe some days I will do some listicle kind of videos, like 7 ways to 3 things to know about X. But I love this conversational videos because it feels like we're connecting. I'm just having a coffee with you. There's just water here, but we're just having like a cafe and talking about life. And it's just, it just feels natural. I am so grateful that this platform exists and I get to be as creative and multi-directional and multi-passionate as I want. And it's just the best. I think for all of us who feel you always knew you were meant to fit one box. You're not the one person that when you were born and you were 4 years old, you were like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a painter. And you pursued that direction all your life and you become a master at it. I've always admired that. I've always, part of me always wondered, I wish if I stuck, if I committed to one thing, what will my life be now? For a while, I was having those thoughts, but you know what? I'm not built that way. In this life, I get to explore all the directions I want. And the beautiful thing is, you know how Steve Jobs used to say, there will come the point where all the dot you will connect all the dots. And I always kind of held that concept, like so close to my heart, like such a like a hope that it would be true, that one day it would be true. And what I can say as a 40-year-old, I can say that in the last 3, 4 years, all the many pivots, all the different directions, all the things I've learned and pursued and trained in, like all the stack of certifications and trainings I have, they all make sense. They they are my design. And I think if you are following what makes you feel alive, what gives you back energy, joy, creativity, what inspires you, what makes you feel excited, there is no doing it wrong. You cannot get it wrong if you follow that. So for me, I'm not even, of course, I'm looking at metrics because I get so excited when I get one subscriber on YouTube, feels like, whoa, or like 100 views on the last video. It feels out of this world. Probably because Instagram set such low expectations, this feels huge. But yes, a part of me looks and gets all giggly and excited with metrics. But if it was all zero, I will still look at how much I feel more inspired, excited to share. It's just like a child. I feel like a child who's playing. And if that's not a full body yes, if that's not a go for it, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. This makes my inner child happy. So I will see you tomorrow in the next video and give it a like if this landed for you, if this sparked something for you. And I will know that these videos speak to you. And I'm happy to create more where I speak about my own journey and connecting my dots and making things like finding my way versus following the rules and trusting my way. And thank you so much for watching. And yeah, if you don't know, my name is Marina, and I make videos every day. I just butchered the ending. If you don't know, my name is Marina. I make videos every day. I will see you tomorrow. And I look forward to having a closing that that feels mine, but I know that will come with time. So for now, we're just gonna go with the very awkward and unscripted, imperfect closings. Thank you all for watching. See you tomorrow.